The alarm screamed through the galley at 0300 hours, and Chef Krelnax dropped his spatula into the protein vat. His 4 eyes swiveled toward the industrial mixer that had been humming peacefully just moments before. Now it was making a sound like a dying starship engine, grinding and screeching in ways that violated at least 3 safety protocols. "By the 7 moons!" Krelnax muttered, his mandibles clicking in distress. The mixer was supposed to be preparing the morning's nutrient paste for the station's 3,000 inhabitants. Instead, it had somehow gotten jammed, and whatever was stuck inside was causing the entire unit to shake violently. The human technician, Marcus Webb, arrived within minutes, still wearing his sleep shirt and carrying a toolbox that looked older than some of the station's modules. His hair stuck up in every direction, brown and messy from sleep. Krelnax had always found human hair fascinating in a disturbing way. It just grew out of their heads like some kind of decorative fungus, serving no apparent purpose. "What happened?" Marcus asked, rubbing his eyes. "The mixer jammed during the frosting cycle," Krelnax explained. The station had recently acquired a massive shipment of Earth dessert supplies, and Krelnax had been experimenting with something called cupcakes for the human crew members. The frosting mixer was an industrial beast, capable of whipping 500 gallons of the sweet substance at once. Marcus approached the machine and peered into the observation window. Inside, the mixing paddle was spinning at half speed, struggling against something caught in the mechanism. "Did you turn it off?" "It will not respond to commands," Krelnax said, his translator rendering his panicked chittering into flat, emotionless words. "The emergency shutoff is malfunctioning." Marcus nodded and examined the control panel. His fingers moved quickly over the alien interface, but nothing changed. The mixer continued its terrible grinding. "The whole system's locked up. I'll need to manually disengage the motor, but that means getting inside while it's still running." "That is extremely dangerous," Krelnax protested. "Station regulations clearly state that no personnel should enter active machinery without proper lockout procedures." "Yeah, well, if this thing shakes itself apart, it's going to dump boiling frosting all over the galley," Marcus said, already opening his toolbox. "Besides, it's only spinning at about 20% power. I've dealt with worse." Before Krelnax could protest further, Marcus had climbed onto the mixer's access platform and was unscrewing the maintenance hatch. The Zelthari chef watched in horror as the human opened the panel, revealing the churning gears and pistons inside. The frosting mixture, thick and pale pink, was visible through the clear safety cylinder. "I can see the problem," Marcus called over the noise. "Looks like someone left a mixing attachment in there when they switched modes. It's caught in the planetary gear." "Please do not reach inside," Krelnax begged. "If the mechanism catches your appendage, it will remove it." Marcus laughed, actually laughed. "Nah, I just need to hit the manual release." He leaned further into the machine, his upper body disappearing into the maintenance access. His voice became muffled. "Almost got it. Just need to—" "There!" The grinding noise suddenly stopped, replaced by a smooth, whirring sound. But then there was a tremendous crack, and Marcus yelped. The mixer suddenly lurched back to full power, and before Krelnax could process what was happening, the human's entire head was pulled into the frosting chamber. "Human Marcus!" Krelnax screamed, rushing forward. But the safety protocols that had failed to shut down the machine were working perfectly when it came to keeping him out. The access door had sealed automatically. Through the observation window, Krelnax watched in absolute horror as Marcus's head and shoulders were submerged in 500 gallons of strawberry frosting, spinning at industrial speeds. The human's body was hanging halfway into the machine, arms flailing. This was it. This was how humans died. Krelnax would have to file an incident report explaining how he had allowed a crew member to be whipped to death in a frosting mixer. But then the emergency power finally kicked in, and the mixer ground to a halt. The chamber slowly stopped spinning. There was a long moment of terrible silence. Marcus pulled his head out of the frosting tank. His entire head was coated in thick pink frosting, obscuring his features completely. He sat up on the platform, frosting dripping from his hair, his face, his shoulders. For a moment, he was completely still. "Human Marcus!" Krelnax managed to override the safety lock and rushed to the platform. "Are you functional? Do you require medical assistance? Should I summon the emergency response team?" Marcus reached up and wiped frosting away from his eyes. Then he did something that Krelnax would never understand, as long as he lived. The humans started laughing. Not the hysterical laughter of someone in shock, but genuine, full-bellied laughter. "That was insane," Marcus said, still chuckling. He scooped some frosting off his head and tasted it. "Hey, this is actually pretty good. A little sweet, but good." Krelnax's mandibles hung open. "You were submerged in an industrial mixer operating at full capacity. Your cranial structure should be fractured. Your cerebral tissue should be damaged. You should be deceased." Marcus wiped more frosting from his face, revealing a huge grin underneath. "Dude, it's frosting. It's like being in a really aggressive whirlpool made of sugar." He started climbing down from the platform, leaving pink footprints on the deck. "Though I gotta admit, getting dunked like that was not in my maintenance manual." Over the next hour, as Marcus cleaned up and Krelnax filed the incident report, other crew members began arriving for their shifts. Word spread quickly through the station. The human technician had survived being mixed like a batter ingredient. He had been spun at high speed in an industrial mixer and walked away laughing about it. The Zelthari crew were disturbed. The Voskari navigators were fascinated. The Zenthi security officers wanted to study human bone density. And the other humans? They thought it was hilarious. But the strangest part came 3 days later. Marcus still smelled like strawberry frosting despite multiple showers. His hair, no matter how many times he washed it, retained a faint pink tint and a sweet smell. The frosting had apparently bonded with human hair in ways that Krelnax's species couldn't begin to understand. "It's the proteins," Marcus explained in the mess hall, where he had become something of a celebrity. "Human hair is made of keratin, and I guess at that speed and temperature, the sugar in the frosting basically caramelized into it. My hair is literally glazed now." "Does it cause discomfort?" asked Shikara, one of the Zenthi officers, leaning in to sniff his hair curiously. "Nah," Marcus said, running his fingers through his hair. It was shinier than before, Krelnax noticed, and it did indeed smell like a dessert. "Actually, it's kind of softer now. Like I got some expensive conditioning treatment. Though I'm probably going to attract insects on any planet with a breathable atmosphere." The story spread beyond the station. Within a week, it had reached 3 neighboring systems. The humans, those impossible creatures who had somehow survived everything the galaxy threw at them, had added a new tale to their legend. One of them had been processed by an industrial food mixer and emerged with nothing more than a new hairstyle. Scientists from 4 different species requested samples of Marcus's hair for study. A human entertainment company wanted to buy the rights to make a show about the incident. The mixer manufacturer sent a legal team to investigate how their machine had survived contact with a human skull at full speed. Marcus took it all in stride, showing up to his shifts with pink-tinted hair that smelled perpetually of strawberries. He had the mixer repaired and working within a day, adding extra safety protocols that, as he put it, might actually stop someone who isn't built like a human tank. Krelnax never used the frosting attachment again. He couldn't look at strawberry frosting without seeing Marcus's frosting-covered face emerging from the mixer, laughing like a madman. It was the day he truly understood what the other species meant when they whispered about humans in the station's corridors. Humans were not built like other species. They were not fragile creatures who needed careful environmental controls and safety protocols for every task. They were something else entirely, something that could survive industrial accidents that would kill any other being, and then laugh about it while eating the evidence. And now, whenever other species asked Krellnax about humans, he would tell them about Marcus Webb, the human whose hair became frosting-flavored, and who treated a potentially fatal accident like an inconvenient bath. It was the most human thing Krellnax had ever witnessed, and it perfectly captured why humans were both terrifying and impossible to dislike. They were survivors, every single one of them right down to their decorative head fungus.